So you're familiar with lye, you know the safety behind lye. You have sourced all of your materials, your bowls, your whisks, your scrapers, your molds, all of the things. And now you're ready to make soap, except you don't have any oil. And so that's what we are talking about today. And I will tell you more about the oils and all of the oily things in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And you are here for day 327 of 365 days of soap. And today, as I said, we are talking all about oils in this Back to Basics, How to Make Soap series thing. Yes. And yeah, oils, you need them in order to make soap. They're very important. Very, very important. And when you start looking at all of the recipes that are on the interwebs, they seem to be a bit intimidating. It's daunting, right? Like, why does this recipe have argan oil and this recipe has canola? Or what is with the sweet almond oil? I actually use sweet almond oil as an example because while I love the Soap Queen and everything that she has done for the soaping community, she is also a soap making vendor. She sells products in order to make soap. So all of her tutorials for, like, I don't know, 2006 to 2010, I think, said that you needed to use sweet almond oil to disperse your colorants. Why? Because sweet almond oil was one of her most expensive oils at the time and she wanted to sell it. But sweet almond oil is not necessary in a recipe. Not that recipe, not any recipe. So let's talk about what actually is necessary in a soap recipe, the things you should be looking for, what you should be starting out with, and where you can get them. So first up, the oils in the actual soap recipe are going to be determined based on what you want the bar to do, how you want it to perform. First and foremost, soap is soap. Soap is a rinse-off product. And when we start saying it does things like cures dandruff or acne or eczema or whatever, that becomes a drug or a cosmetic. And that's something in the soap making world that we really don't want to mess with. So we're going to put that aside. I did a bunch of deep dives about labeling and what we can and cannot call our soaps and whatnot previously. So feel free to go check those out if you want. What we are looking at when it comes to oils is how it actually works when you get it wet and lather it in your hands or on your body or what have you. And so what do you want your soap to do? Do you want a big bubble? Do you want it to be moisturizing? Do you want it to be rock hard so it lasts as long as humanly possible? Sure, all of those things actually sound really good. So in order to figure out how you're going to meet all of those goals, you're going to want to look at the fatty acid profiles of the oils. Now, I have done several deep dives on oils specifically, talking about their fatty acid profiles, as well as just the chemistry of soaping oils and what all the different fatty acids are and what they do in soap. So I'm not going to go too far into it today. We're just going to focus on, again, the three big things. Nice hard bar that's long lasting, good bubbles, good moisture. Not going to strip anything from the skin. In that case, what you are looking for is the bubbling, something like a coconut oil. Coconut oil produces a great big bubble right off the bat. Huge, immediate lather payoff. It's delightful. It's also a solid oil, and so it does contribute to bar hardness. Something else that contributes to bar hardness is palm oil. And I know palm oil is pretty controversial, but if you have watched any of my deep dives on the specific oils, you will see that every oil and or butter that we use in soap making comes with a whole bunch of controversy. So palm oil, loads of stearic acid in it, makes a really great bar that's very, very hard and lasts a very long time. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as well. Now for your moisture bit, olive oil, we're all very familiar with this. Olive oil has these long chains that are very moisturizing, but can hinder the lather. But realistically, if you're looking for a bar of soap that again has a good bubble, is moisturizing, and is long lasting, you can't go wrong with a basic 3 blend of coconut oil, olive oil, and palm. And that is really something that I suggest you use off the bat for a while until you start getting comfortable with the soap making process. First and foremost, because all 3 of those oils are reasonably cheap. And I say reasonably because I understand just how expensive all of these things have become in the past few years, for sure. But until you get a few batches of soap under your belt, and by a few, I mean maybe a couple dozen, there's no real reason for you to start playing with different oils, like exotic oils with your hemps or your tamanus or your argans or your jojobas, or the more expensive, domestic oils like the apricots or the sweet almonds, until you really figured out what this process is, and then you can start tweaking your recipes. That said, there's no real reason why you ever need to tweak your oils outside of these 3. It's a well-balanced bar of soap that provides the bubble, the moisture, and the bar hardness. And if you want a little bit more bubble, instead of changing an oil, you could incorporate sugar into your recipe. If you want more moisture, you could incorporate something like an oat milk or a goat's milk into your recipe. There are ways to tweak these existing 3 oils within the actual pour and the recipe itself without going crazy overboard with very, very expensive oils. So again, for me, I recommend a nice balanced batch, olive, coconut, and palm, when you are starting out in equal parts. 33% coconut, 33% palm, 34% olive, and go from there. For those of you who don't want to use palm oil, that's completely fine. I would, instead of using palm, I would do something like a 40% coconut oil and a 60% actual liquid oil. So your olive oil or your canola oil or your rice bran oil, all 3 have very similar moisturizing properties. Their fatty acid composition is almost identical. So that would be an option for palm free. Now, one of the questions we get all of the time, and you see on the soap forums all the time, is where do I get this? Where's the best price? And that honestly depends on how much you're willing to buy in one fell swoop. As far as I'm concerned, for soap makers that are just starting out right now, but can spend a little bit of extra money, can get more oil, in than just a pound or 7 pounds at a time, I recommend going to Soaper's Choice. Soaper's Choice, nationwide, they have the best prices on all of your oils, even with the shipping factored in. Now, I live very far away from Soaper's Choice, and I checked their prices for their shipping, and yeah, their shipping is really expensive right now, but they're still coming in with that shipping on average of 50 cents a pound cheaper than any other, company that I looked at. We're talking about Shea & Company. We're talking about Brambleberry. So definitely give Soaper's Choice a look if you are interested in getting oils in a bigger bulk. And to the bigger bulk, you might get really concerned that they're all going to go rancid before you use them. I understand that soap maker's bug. If you've been bit by it, you're going to keep making. So you will go through that oil faster than you think. I promise. And 2, all 3 of these oils are reasonably shelf stable. So as long as you keep them in a cool, dark space, they are going to be able to be used for up to 2 years. So no worries there. Now, if you don't want to go the bigger bulk route and get a minimum of 7 pounds, which I believe is what Soaper's Choice offers, the other options are going to be looking at your local grocery stores and Sam's Club and Costco and Big Lots. I have heard tell that Big Lots has the best price of coconut oil in the bigger containers than anybody else out there. I have heard that olive oil is the cheapest at Costco. For me personally, I can actually get canola oil at my local Fred Meyer for wildly cheaper than anybody sells it online. It takes quite a bit more work and quite a bit more sleuthing to source the best and cheapest, oils for your recipe. And I do get that. But again, it's all going to depend on how much you want to buy in one fell swoop. I recommend Sober's Choice, but if you can't buy that much, I do recommend checking out your local grocery stores and your big box stores before proceeding and placing an order with one of the other companies. As far as Brambleberry goes, Brambleberry is very good for the hobbyist, for sure, like literally the hobbyist. Their prices are pretty expensive for anyone that's actually trying to turn this into a soap business and make some money off of the things that they've, purchased. So I don't really know about that. Cierra Candles has decent prices for oils as well. They're in between, good wholesale and hobbyist level. Bulk Apothecary has good prices. Their shipping is very long, and I believe their shipping is pretty expensive. Wholesale Supplies Plus, when they have the sale, absolutely buy your oils. Anytime that they have a sale on any of their oils, buy them, because that's a really great deal. Especially since last I checked, Wholesale Supplies Plus was doing like free shipping over a certain dollar amount. So look into them, but do be prepared with Wholesale Supplies Plus that they have phenomenally long shipping times. So if you order something today, be prepared to not get it for at least 3 weeks. Now that we've talked about oils, about the actual oils that you use within the soap, how about essential oils, fragrance oils, and micas? The other things that you're going to use or could potentially use to incorporate into your soap batches. As far as fragrance oils go, I love Cierra Candles. They are top-notch customer service. Their prices are so super good. Their blends are amazing. Their soaping notes on their website are awesome. And they have really amazing shipping times. For sure. Nature's Garden is obviously another option for your fragrance oils. Midwest Fragrance is also very good as well. I would prefer Cierra Candles or Midwest over Nature's Garden just because I'm sort of burned out on Nature's Garden, having tested literally every scent that they've ever made, and that's a huge inventory. So it's a lot. I do not recommend going to the hobby store or going to Amazon to buy your fragrance oils. If it's a hobby store and it's specifically fragrance oils for soap, fine. They're going to charge you way too much for it. If it's something that you find on Amazon, like some fragrance oil, you don't really know that it's been tested and that it's good in soap or what it's going to do in soap because it doesn't have any soaping notes. So I would definitely not buy any fragrance oils off of Amazon. As far as essential oils go, I would not buy any essential oils off of any of those like doTERRA et al. Type things because you use a fair amount of essential oils in soap in order for those scents to actually survive. It is a very brutal process of saponification. So I would not go that route. They give you little teeny tiny bottles for a whole lot of doll hairs. If you are interested in the essential oil route, Brambleberry does have pretty good options as far as essential oils go. Their prices are decent-ish. Bulk Apothecary, I think, has the best prices for essential oils by far and the biggest selection. I like them quite a bit. Now, for your micas, again, not Amazon. Just don't do anything specifically meant to go into a soap or a cosmetic from Amazon, as tempting as the price points may be. Go to an actual soap and or candle supply company that has all the data pages right there in front of you. They have tested it in soap. They know what it will do in soap. They know that it's okay to be used in soap. So options for that would be Mad Micas, my absolute most favorite place to buy micas. Nurture soap, also great mica selection there. And another really good place to get your micas is Midwest Soapery. They are recent-ish in the soap making game. But I actually did a couple videos wherein I tested every single one of the micas they have in cold processed soap, and I loved every single one of the colors. No problems whatsoever. Their price points were great. I highly recommend them as well. Again, net, if you're going to use colorants and fragrances or essential oils, do not go to Amazon for those things. They're going to give you problems in your soap making. And the last thing that you want when you're making your very first batch of soap or your first batches of soap are problems that you don't know how to fix. But again, going back to the oils, I really do recommend sticking with cheap and easy to source oils while you are starting out. Oils that are going to give your soap the properties that you want, are not going to cost a lot of money in case you mess up a soap batch, and are going to be easy to source for sure. So coconut, olive, palm, and you can start getting fancy with the exotic oils and butters once you have a batch or two under your belt, for sure. That's it. Those are my recommendations on where to source, what to get. And as far as I'm concerned, you are ready to make soap, right? We've had the lye covered and the lye safety. We have all the materials that you're going to need in order to make the soap. You have the stuff that you're going to need with which to make the soap from your oils and your essentials and your fragrances and your micas. Now we're ready to make soap, right? Well, that is what part 4 in this series is. It's going to be the recipe. It's going to be the pouring and the cutting and the things of soap, which is going to be cool. You're going to have a good time. If you want to be reminded of said good time, hit subscribe. That would be excellent. For those of you who have hit subscribe, hey, you're excellent. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being a sudzer. I'm out of here for today, but I will see all of you guys again tomorrow for part 4 of Back to Basics, Soapy Fun. Bye.